ELA 2023, Section 2 Solutions. Now, let me just say something. This is Miss Latoya's suggested solutions for Section 2. Okay, so you need to understand that the response that you may have may not be the same exact thing that I may have. So let's bear that in mind while I go through Section 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is read the questions for the comprehension, then I'll go through the comprehension and answer it. The first comprehension question says, list 2 items mentioned in the story that the boys needed for their plan. The next one says, identify the figure of speech in the line, the fur on his back stood up straight like the needles on a porcupine. Give the meaning of the following words as used in the passage, scald and evidence. What kind of person is Chen? Give one detail from the passage to support your answer. How did Akeem feel about his pet? Give one detail from the passage to support your answer. Of the 2 characters, Akeem and Chen, who do you admire more? Give a reason for your answer. If you were Mrs. Walker in the story, what would you have done with Charlie? Give one reason for your answer. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the comprehension so we'll be able to answer the questions. The title of the comprehension is Circumstantial Evidence. He was standing right in the middle of what used to be my flower garden. Look at him. Mrs. Maharaj scowled at the muddy dog, who was now watching her from behind her owner's legs. Here's the cost of my roses. She handed the paper to Mrs. Walker and went back to her house. Mrs. Walker looked at her son hugging the culprit. We can't afford this, Akeem, she lamented. I have done everything to try to help you keep Charlie, but he's just impossible. He's not, Akeem shouted and ran outside. Charlie was at his heels. Charlie, you've got to stop this. She'll send you away. Maybe he didn't do it. Akeem looked up. His best friend Chen was peering over the back wall. My dad says you shouldn't convict without hard evidence, and my dad's the best lawyer there is. Chen dropped to the ground. Maybe something made him do it, he proposed. Like what? Akeem inquired. Another animal, Chen responded. Maybe we can come over to my house. We've got to create a plan. Chen started climbing back over the wall. Akeem didn't move. Come on. You want to save Charlie, don't you? Chen looked down at Akeem. Okay, I guess you're right, Akeem replied. Soon they devised a plan. They needed a bag of food, a flashlight, and Chen's digital camera. In the evening, they put some food out in the garden and hid in the shed. Close to midnight, Charlie bared his teeth. The fur on his back stood up straight, needles on a porcupine. Something was coming through the bushes. It was big, dark, and furry. I'll get my camera, Chen whispered. Keep Charlie quiet. Don't scare it away. We need pictures of it. Don't turn on the flashlight yet. Charlie bolted out, dragging Akeem behind him. The flashlight went on. Chen sprinted after them, clicking the camera. Blinded by the flashlight, the animal stared at them. It was a manuku. Startled, it turned away from the food and disappeared into the bushes. Whoa, that's what Charlie's been after. It's enormous, Akeem exclaimed. It's out looking for food at night. That's why nobody ever sees it. We've got evidence now that it was Charlie, Chen commented. With all the commotion, lights came on in all the surrounding houses. Do you two know what time it is? Chen's dad shouted. No sweat, Dad, Chen replied. I'm clearing an innocent client, just like you would. Question 1. List 2 items mentioned in the story that the boys needed for their plan. As stated in the passage, the boys needed a bag of food, a flashlight, and Chen's digital camera. Now the question asks for 2. You have 3 here, so any 2 will work. Identify the figure of speech in the line. The fur on his back stood up straight like the needle on a porcupine. So we need to know figures of speech, similes, metaphors, personification, alliteration, and so on. The figure of speech used here is a simile. What is a simile? A simile is a comparison of two things using like or as. Question 3 says to give the meaning of the following words as used in the passage. The word scout, we have to find the word in line 2 and read it. Don't just read the line the word is in, read the lines before, read the lines after to understand how the word is used in context. So here it says that he was standing right in the middle of what used to be my flower garden. Look at him. Mrs. Mirage scowled at the muddy dog who was now watching her from behind her owner's legs. The word scowled here is telling us how she looked at the dog, right? Do you think she looked at the dog happily, excitedly? No, she was extremely angry. She was extremely angry and annoyed. So I'll write several suggestions. So in this context, the word scold means to look at in an angry manner, to look at angrily, to frown, to look at with an angry face. She gave the dog a bad look, anything of the sort. As I said, these are suggested responses to the question. You may not have written your responses just like this. It does not mean that you're getting it wrong. Now, evidence. What does the word evidence mean in lines 11 to 34? Maybe he didn't do it. Akim looked up. His best friend Chen was peering over the wall. My dad says you shouldn't convict without hard evidence. You shouldn't convict without hard facts. You shouldn't convict without hard proof. And my dad's the best lawyer there is. So those are some suggestions that we could use. Okay. What kind of person is Chen? Give one detail from the passage to support your answer. I'm going to give a few suggestions for Chen. Chen was smart, curious, organized, resourceful, observant, caring, among other things. Whatever you said, okay? Once you find information from the passage to support your answer, that's what is important, okay? So you might not have selected anything I selected here, and that's fine. You could have selected something else and use the information from the passage to back up your answer. I'm going to choose line 16. Again, it depends on what you choose. I found Chen to be very organized. He said, maybe we can prove it. Come out to my house. We've got to create a plan. The fact that he wanted to create a plan. So caring it because he knows how his friend will feel if he loses his dog. Yeah, so he was going all out to assist his friend. So again, whatever you selected, you must choose details from the passage to support your answer. There are several suggestions for a question like this, as I just said. How did Akim feel about his pet? Based on the passage, Akim loved his pet. The first and second paragraph, the second paragraph told us that Akim was hugging the culprit. So he was hugging his dog, although his mother was quarreling at that time. And again, these are just suggested responses. And no, I have to say that over and over so that you don't look at this and say, oh my God, I didn't put this, I'm getting it wrong. Please don't think like that, okay? Of the two characters, Akim and Chen, who do you admire more? Give a reason for your answer. Now, if you admired Akim, select something from the passage as to why. Say why you admired Akim, okay? If you admired Chen, say why you admired Chen. Out of the two characters, I admired Chin because he was concerned for his friend and his dog. A second reason why I like Chin, admired Chin more because, because of his ability to quickly organize a plan and the resources that they needed, to prove the dog's innocence. And thirdly, I admired Chin for his bravery as well. Again, I am writing several reasons why I chose Chen. Remember, the question just says to give a reason, but I'm just giving you all multiple suggestions, okay? If you were Mrs. Walker in the story, what would you have done with Charlie? Give one reason for the answer. Well, I might have gotten rid of that dog because it's costing me. Remember what the neighbor did? She brought the receipt. This is the cost of my roses. So I might have gotten rid of that dog. Or somebody will say, another suggestion is to keep the dog and probably keep him on a leash so that he wouldn't distress the neighbors, etc. And then again, I'll keep the dog because Akim likes it. Yes, he likes his dog, So again, several suggestions. Again, this is if I was Mrs. Walker, okay? And I know that some of you would have selected something else. Feel free to share some of the things that you thought of. Now on to the poem. It says, school is out, happy am I. It's Friday, time to play and unwind. No homework, no note-taking, just enjoyment. Racing ideas of what's to be done. Should I read? Should I spend time in the sun? When Friday ends, no sadness comes. The dawn of a newborn Saturday is soon here. Chirping birds, buzzing bees, whistling trees everywhere. A myriad of activities for my eager soul to choose. Patience though, house chores first. Chores done. I am as joyful as a flitting hummingbird who has the world to behold. A bicycle ride to the park on my to-do list. Race with friends, impossible to resist. Loser or winner, still together we remain. Saturday's door closes and Sunday makes her appearance. Greeted with drowsy eyes and lazy smiles, it is when the family recuperates plans for Monday. This brief respite is soon interrupted. Orders are given, time to awake, things to do. I am unfortunately reminded the weekend has ended. So question 1 says, list 2 activities from stanza 1. This is stanza 1. List 2 activities from stanza 1, which the speaker does not have to do when school is out. No homework, no note-taking. Those are 2 activities. Give one word or phrase from stanza 2 that appeals to the sense of hearing. Now stanza 2. This is stanza 2. When Friday ends, no sadness comes. The dawn of a newborn Saturday is soon here. Chirping birds, buzzing bees, whistling trees everywhere. So that is the phrase that appeals to the sense of hearing. Again, you could was on any one of these phrases, or if you wrote the line, I don't see a problem with that, line 3. Question 28. Saturday's door closes and Sunday makes her appearance, line 16. Let's find that, that's here. Explain the meaning of this line. What does this line means? This line means that at the end of Saturday, a day which is filled with lots of fun activities, is Sunday, a day to prepare and get ready for the week, get ready for Monday. Okay. Question 29. Give the meaning of the following words as used in the poem. Unwind. In line 2. Line 2 is Friday, time to play and unwind. Unwind here means to do what? Relax, have fun, do other things besides schoolwork. Again, any plausible answer. The word myriad means, as used in line 9. Let's go back there. A myriad of activities for my eager soul to choose. This means a lot, unlimited, several. Any one of those words, y'all, will work. What kind of person is the speaker? Give one detail from the poem to support your answer. So yes, we know the speaker was young, but what kind of person was the speaker? The speaker was cheerful, the speaker was excited, and whatever you choose, you must use details from the passage to support your answer. So here I have several things. The speaker is playful, cheerful, joyful, friendly, understanding, And my supporting line was line 15, which says, loser or winner, still together we remain. And there are several other lines that can be supporting details for anyone that you chose. Remember, your line that you're choosing will be dependent on the kind of person you believe the speaker is. Suggest a suitable title for the poem and give one reason for your answer. So feel free, for those of you who are ready, what was it you selected for your poem? A suitable title for the poem is School is Out. What for weekends? No more schoolwork. Whatever you chose, and just give your reason to support the title you chose. Based on the suggestions that was given, I chose this title because the poem is mainly about what can be done when school is out, or what can be done on weekends. I chose this title because the poet talks about how excited he feels at the end of Fridays. Again, any plausible answer. If you remember your title, feel free to share it. How is the mood at the beginning of the poem different from the mood at the end? Support your answer with details from the poem. Remember, mood is the overall feeling or atmosphere of the text created by the author or the writer or the poet in this case, while the tone is the writer's attitude towards a particular audience or subject or topic. Right, so based on the poem, the mood at the beginning of the poem is cheerful or excited or happy. And why is that? Because it's the end of a school week and the poet is looking forward to participating in a lot of fun activities. Now remember, you can say the same thing using different words, okay? While the mood at the end of the poem is sorrowful, I don't like sad, because the weekend has ended and the poet has to prepare for school. Now, I'm not saying if you use sad, it's wrong. I just personally don't like it, okay? So anything close to this, as I said, any plausible answer for the questions, okay, you will get your marks. Now, remember, I'm not just doing this for students who wrote exams already. I'm also doing this for students who will be writing exams next year and the following year, and so on. Now, the last part of section 3 is the graphic, and this graphic is about a garage sale. It's on the 22nd of January, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Clothing, furniture, toys, books, and much more. Family migrating soon. Everything priced to go, one day only. Contact us at garagesale@hotmail.com. First 25 customers get 10% off. Pictures of some items, lamps, chairs, ball, and so on. So again, when you get a graphic, I want to encourage you to read all the information on the graphic. Now, which two images in the advertisement will encourage outdoor activities? So we have to go back, examine the images given, and we can see here that we have a football and bicycle or bike. So these two items will encourage outdoor activities. The second question says to give two reasons why the words garage sale are written in big, bold, capital letters. So I'm going to give you all a few suggestions. So two reasons why the words garage sale are written in big, bold, capital letters are to effectively convey information, attract the reader's attention, highlight the important information, add emphasis to the fact that it is a sale. As I said before, any plausible answer, any two from this list, you might have said the same thing differently, okay? Give two reasons why a person might want to arrive early at the sale. There's several reasons why I might want to arrive early at a sale. The graphic says that the first 25 customers gets 10% off. So that's a reason to arrive early. You're going to be given a discount. Secondly, it's a one-day sale. I want to arrive early because the variety and options may be limited. After all, it's not a store, it's just they're selling the items that they have in their home. So again, these are some suggestions. If you remember some of the things that you wrote, you can feel free to share that as well. The last question says, suggest two other images that can be used. They have images of fan, they have images of books, and so on. But they also advertised clothing. Probably they could have images of clothing. They also talked about toys, probably pictures of the specific toys that they have. So again, any plausible answer will work. That's it for section 2.